Welcome back, CSCI-150 students. This is a recording that's going to complete our um, coverage of interacting with files from a Python program. And in fact, it's going to be the last recording on Python itself. We're going to talk about or show a few examples of writing data to files compared to reading data from files as we've done in the previous two recordings. So in the program that you have right in front of you, I've got two lists, two parallel lists. The first one is stores that contains a bunch of store names, 6 in total. And then bills contains 6 bills also. And these are parallel lists, so every bill is specific to a particular store. The first part of the program, we're going to write this data or write some part of the data into a file called data1.csv. It could be whatever extension you want. I just want to show you how to create .csv. Okay. Apologies for this glitch. We're back now. So now we're gonna write the information, the first store holiday and the first bill, 52.38, to a new file called data1.csv, which, as I was trying to show you, doesn't currently exist in our folder. So I'm gonna put the folder now and the program side by side, run the program, okay, and then shows you that the file has just been created. You can open it in Excel or, as we showed before, with any other text editor. Just to see the formatting, I'm going to open it with Notepad, and you can see that it's written the name of the file, name of the store, comma, the first bill to that file. If I were to run the program again, the file has been rewritten from scratch. So you see the contents are exactly the same. You don't add to an existing file, you just basically write over it. Now, if I were, on the other hand, to do an A over here instead of a W, W is for write, A for append, and then I do that, show the content of the file now, open with Notepad. Now notice that it is writing a new entry every time I rerun the file. Contrast that with a W, where it basically rewrites the file from scratch. So appends at the end, while write recreates the file. And of course, you notice right away with append that the formatting isn't exactly. I'm going to run it few times. Notice all the entries now will be in the file, but the formatting is not correct. We need to start a new line after every entry, and that we learned from before is accomplished by adding a \n to the end of your line. So I'm going to try it again. Okay, so now I created the file. Now I'm going to use A. Let's write 1. So now let's write cache-wise with 43. Let's write cache-wise again with 24.13. And since I'm doing append, I should have now 3 more entries in my file. And they're formatted much better now. Of course, which one to use, append versus write, depends on the problem that you're trying to solve. Sometimes you want to rewrite the file from scratch, at other times you want to append to an existing file. We can also, in a single program, write multiple lines at the same time. So what I want here now is I want to loop over the entries in my lists and write every store name followed by, let's do this over here. I want to write every store name followed by the bill for that store into the file. But I want to do all of them, and of course, I don't want to do them manually like I did in the previous example. So now we're going to have to loop over the lists So I'm gonna need, and we're gonna create a new file called data2.csv so as not to mix it up with the previous one. So I'm gonna say now something like for list position or list index, whatever you want to call it. Let's just call it list index. For list index in range, we want to loop over the length of one of the lists since they are parallel lists. It doesn't matter which one you use. Okay. And what I want now is I want to do something very similar to this write statement. Okay, but instead of specifying 2, I'm going to tell it write the entry at list index. Okay, we'll try to trace the program together now. Just want to focus on this part. Okay. Again, let's show here data2 doesn't exist. Run the program, and data2 now exists. I'm going to open it with Notepad, and you can see all the entries now: holiday 52.38, cash wise 43.56, all the way to Jack and Jill's 226 at the end. So we've been able to do that. And again, the reason is we've done looping over lists before. List index starts at 0. First, we get these entries at location 0. Then it becomes 1. We get the entry at location 1, and so on and so forth. So that should be all for this recording. Thank you much for listening so far.